tip there, guys. Bit of a confusion there. Wow. I was hoping I was rejecting it. So we had bales of plastic crap on from Holland. Came from Holland to where I've just been. Rejects. Retains, it says on the paperwork. No wrong with it when it gets here. They've sent the wrong lorry. So there was about an hour and a half confusion there. So they tipped me off. Got me reload rather quickish, which was nice. So I just finished a 15-minute break off. Now we're off to Leeds. So guess what? To pick some plastic shit up. When I come in some smart clean clothes next year, I'm going to start rejecting this shit. I'm going to be saying, sorry mate, too clean and tidy for that, I've got a shirt and tie on. Who freed a lorry driver? So we've got nearly 2 hours to go to get to Leeds. Time is 22 minutes past 11. I get there for 10 past 1ish. 10 past 2, say half past 2 to load me up. Half past 3, half past 4. Get home about 5 o'clock. Won't be in tomorrow. Going to Hull, I think. When I arrange it. So let's go then.
Joker is a warning of how modern Western society will collapse. Today, this warning is more important than ever, because the movie accurately predicts how revolution will come about in the West. And judging by recent events, we may be much closer than we thought. See what I mean? Joker gives us 4 clear stages of how modern society collapses, and what will be behind a major revolution in the West. The first stage comes when a society is no longer connected, when communities are destroyed and loneliness is the norm. And we see this in the first section of the movie. The opening shot of Joker starts with a mirrored reflection of our protagonist, Arthur. From the looking glass, we see a sympathetic man displaying a sense of sadness and vulnerability. A man who has to put on a public mask to blend in as best he can to the society that he lives in. And the movie shows us why Arthur needs to do this by giving us a window into his sad life. You see, Arthur has a job at a company named Ha-Ha's, where he works as a cheap clown. But he isn't the circus brand of entertainer. Instead, Arthur spends his time flipping signs on the street and doing other odd jobs. But one day on the job, while Arthur's doing his sign routine, a band of teenagers snatch it from him and run away. Arthur immediately starts chasing after them, but gets ambushed and hit in the face with his own sign. The group of thugs then pour salt on the wound by kicking Arthur while he's lying down on the concrete. It's in this scene that we see the first cracks in Gotham society, and the consequences
Here at Jackpot Joy, we've been creating winners for 20 years. And we've seen them all. The fist bumpers. What to let you know they've just won us. The cool as cucumbers. And then there's Susan. There's a winner every minute at Jackpot Joy. Come and join us.
Of the lack of social cohesion. You see, no one bothers to try and help Arthur, even though it's clear that he's been treated terribly by the people around him. It's a mirror of life in Western megacities, and this is having a significant impact on Arthur's psychology. To understand this properly, we need to consider a concept called the looking glass self. a sociological term that describes how a person's perception of themselves come from how they think other people view them. This develops in a 3-step process that begins incredibly early in life. As children, we slowly tap into and notice how other people react to our behavior. Those reactions are then attributed to judgments about how we act. And lastly, an individual then forms a self-image in line with how they think others are judging them. Charles Cooley, the sociologist who first coined the term, thought that this process of socialization was what made people human. But in Joker, the whole idea of the looking glass self has been thrown on its head. Arthur's self-image is so terrible because he's been convinced by other people's actions that he himself is terrible. And this creates a positive feedback where every time someone treats Arthur poorly, he mistakenly believes that he deserves it. And a negative self-image like this will only lead to a compounding hatred of oneself. And Joker is just so popular because there are millions of men like Arthur in our world today. Because our entire culture is creating a breeding ground for loneliness, despair, mental illness, where we're bathed in atomizing celebrity at all cost nihilism. A society that's rebuked lonely, despairing young men into thinking they're worthless, angry freaks who deserve nothing but contempt. The hordes of castigated men is symptomatic of a very deep problem in our society. This is shown in the next scene, where Arthur talks to his therapist and asks him. But unfortunately, talking to a therapist doesn't seem to be helping his mental health a whole lot. So instead, he tries to get something out of the session by asking for a higher dose of his 7 medications, but all to no avail. He tells his therapist that all he really wants is just to not feel so bad anymore, but finds no refuge in her cold demeanor. Arthur treads a long flight of stairs up towards his apartment where he lives with his mother. She is almost physically immobile, whilst also being mentally unwell, with Arthur being left to take care of her all by himself. Once the two have dinner together, they turn on their favourite TV show, Live with Murray Franklin. Arthur idolises the host, so much so that he starts imagining what it would feel like to live once in the body.
Shut up.
Word magic. How words can be used as magic spells. Words are not just elements of speech or writing, because they can be used to strengthen the effects of magic, which is the art of directing and controlling energy. When spoken out loud, words transform into frequencies and vibrations that can be used to direct energy. This is one of the first steps to creating magic effects.
Then wait.
Most people will laugh at the idea of magic being real.
You'll pull over now.
But only if they knew what magic really is and how magic is being used to control them. They wouldn't be laughing then, would they? The world is dominated by magic. Until you train your eyes to see how magic is used to control you, you will never know how the world really works. The controllers who pull the strings, politicians, are well aware of how magic works. Many of them actually practice the art of magic, which is why they are sometimes referred to as the dark magicians. Unfortunately, they like to use magic for power and evil purposes, instead of using it to change the world to a better place. The most powerful thing in the universe is energy. If you learn how to control and direct this energy, you will become one of the most powerful people on earth. Why do you think the controllers, the dark magicians, are so obsessed with magic and energy?
Thursday, not fucking
What is the
Sunday.
definition of magic? Here is an excerpt from the book titled Word Magic, the powers and the called definition of words that explains what magic is. The word magic is derived from the Old French word magique, Latin magicus, and Greek magikos. One of the earliest definitions of magic is the art of influencing events and producing marvels using hidden natural forces. magic has a strong relation with magnetic and electrical energy. Did you not notice that the word magnetic has the word magic in it? Take out magnetic, and you are left with the word magic. The art of magic is often practicing along with certain words and sacred geometries. Common words that are used in magic rituals are the words that produce powerful sound tones when spoken out loud. These sound tones have powerful vibrational patterns, which are used to direct and control energy and harness its power. Sound is able to direct energy for the reason that it carries certain frequency patterns that attract energy to flow in a controllable manner. Furthermore, sound is one of the natural forces used by nature to create crystalline structures and sacred geometries, which are some of the building blocks of matter. Power of words. Once you know how words, along with sound, can be used to direct energy to produce magic effects, you will know that words could be as powerful or even more powerful than swords. When you move the letters around in words, mid-front, you get sword. This is not an accident. Nearly all words in the English language are carefully designed and put together in a way that produces magic effects, so that the creators, dark magicians, of these words can trick you into playing their con game. Is this hard for you to believe? Are light bulbs flashing like crazy on your head right now? If not, you still have a lot to learn, because you do not even realize that you have been slaved. Maybe this quote from the Matrix could help wake you up. Morpheus. The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now in this very room. You can see it when you look outside your window, or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go for a walk. When you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. Neo. What truth? Morpheus. That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch.
If you're over 50 without funeral cover, please watch this video. One company, Golden Leaves, have brought to the industry of finance monthly payment option that will give you immediate.
That's all.
That you cannot smell or taste or touch. Prison for your mind. The Matrix is not just a movie. It was an experiment done by the dark magicians to see how people would react to a movie that was telling them the truth in a metamorphical kind of way. Dark magicians like to tell you what they're doing to you, or planning to do to you, in movies and in TV shows. The binding powers of words and contracts. Another word that they like to use to playing their con game is contract. When you separate contract in half, you get con and tract. As a verb, the word con is defined as a swindle or trick. As a noun, the word tract is defined as a brief treatise or pamphlet for general distribution based on the two definitions. When you put con and tract together, you get a deceptive treatise or a treatise full of trickery. When you sign a contract with a corporation or the government, you are agreeing to a fraudulent and deceptive treatise. In other words, you are being conned. The good news is that pretty much all the contracts you made with corporations and governments and government agencies are fraudulent, since they do not come with full disclosure. How to decipher words to find their deeper meanings and intent. If all you do is look at the common definition of a word, you will never know the deeper meaning. To find its deeper meanings, you need to look below its surface, dissect its layers, and look at it from many different angles. This means that you may need to use an etymology dictionary to find the origins of the word, split and rearrange the word using the art of anagram. Once you find the origins of a word, dissect its layers, and look at it from many different angles, the true intent and meanings of the word magically become noticeable inside your mind. So next time you look up a definition of a word, do not only look at its face value, but also look at its origins, prefix and suffix. How words could be used as magic spells. When you speak words, you are casting your thoughts and vibrations into the Earth's magnetic field, or magic field, which is the energy field that creates the reality of it. If you are not careful and say certain words together, you can actually cast a spell without even being aware of it. Have you ever wondered why one of the first things they teach you to do in school is how to spell? When you go to school for the first time in your life, you were taught the alphabet, which is made of letters that are designed using sacred geometry. These letters are ideograms, which are written symbols that represent ideas. One very important thing you need to know about all written symbols is that they are created into existence from the egg, the dot, and the serpent, the lion. The egg and the serpent are important symbols in the religion of secret society. After learning the alphabet, you are taught how to spell using letters of the alphabet. This is to prepare you for the day you could cast magic spells through the use of spelling. Did you notice that magic spell and spelling have the word spelling? This is no accident. It is right in your face. The hidden intent of spelling is to cast magic spells. Most people are too ignorant, lacking in knowledge, so that they have no idea what they are actually doing when they yell harsh words at one another, using swear words or curse words. They did not call them curse words for no reason. Are you starting to see the big picture yet? Why do you think most parents tell their kids to stop cursing when they use swear words too much, even at a subconscious level? We intuitively know that it is not good to use curse words too much. Maybe next time we should listen to our intuition and do some research to find out why we feel that way. The main reason why they teach you how to spell words correctly is to make sure that each letter or geometry is arranged the same way every time you write something. This will help you strengthen the effects of certain words. After learning how to spell words, you are taught to cast those spellings into sentences, phrases, and ideas without teaching you about their magic effects. The purpose of this is to prevent you from knowing the true intention of language, so that the dark magicians can control your mind using magic spells. Their magic spells cannot control 100% of your mind, but they do affect your mind more than you realize. Just like how subliminal messages can affect your subconscious to a large degree. By now, you should know what I mean when I said earlier that nearly all words in the English language are carefully designed and put together by the minions of the controllers, the dark magicians, to trick you into playing their con game. Most other languages are also created for this purpose. How to protect your mind from spells of the dark magicians. One of the most effective ways.
There's uproar in the funeral industry about a little-known £1 a week policy because thousands of UK seniors are taking advantage of this simple trick that takes just a few minutes.
Yeah.
You'll be aware funeral costs have more than doubled at twice the rate of inflation and showing no signs of slowing down. In 10 years, a funeral is projected to cost families over £7,000.
Spells of the Dark Magicians. One of the most effective ways to protect your mind from magic spells is to become more aware of them and how they are being used to control you. For example, when a magician does a magic trick, the magician can fool you into believing that the trick is real. However, if you figure out how the trick is done, you can no longer be fooled because you know it is an illusion. In other words, you have become aware of the trick and it cannot deceive you anymore. The magic trick example is similar to how dark magicians are using real magic spells to control your mind. Once you realize that magic is real and become aware of how dark magicians are using magic spells to control you, then their magic spells lose their effects. Your awareness is one of the most powerful spiritual powers that you have. Learn how to use it wisely, and the dark magicians will not be able to control you. To learn how to use power, your awareness wisely, you need to learn the right knowledge. With the right knowledge, you can increase and strengthen your awareness. Since you now know how magic affects you, next time you make a wish using words or yell at someone using curse words, you may want to think twice before saying those words. Like they say, be careful what you wish for. This article was written by Pao Chang, and you can visit his website at energyfanatics.com. Musical cult control. 432 Hz versus 440 Hz. What I am about to tell you might change the way you listen to music forever. Around 1885, the Music Commission of the Italian government declared that all instruments and orchestras should use a tuning fork that vibrated at 440 Hz, which was different from the original standard of 432 Hz used in France and throughout most of the world. In 1917, the American Federation of Musicians endorsed the Italians and began tuning in 440 Hz. Interestingly, in 1917, the United States officially entered World War I. Then in 1953, a worldwide agreement was signed between all nations. This frequency became the standard ISO 16 reference for tuning of all musical instruments. This tone standard is now accepted all over the world. It remains a mystery why this frequency was chosen in the first place. In fact, there are many people who disagree with this standard. They consider the 440 Hz middle A to be an abomination against nature. There are indeed clues that points to 432 Hz as a more natural frequency for the correct middle A, also known as Verdi's A, a pure tone of math fundamental to nature and is mathematically consistent with the patterns of the universe, vibrating with pi and the golden ratio. What is 440 Hz? 440 Hz is the unnatural standard tuning frequency removed from the symmetry of sacred vibrations and overtones. There is a theory that the change from 432 Hz to 440 Hz was dictated by Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels. Apparently, he used it to make people think and feel a certain manner and to make them a prisoner of their own consciousness. In a paper entitled Musical Cult Control, Dr. Leonard Horowitz writes, "The music industry features this imposed frequency that is herding populations into greater aggression, psychosocial agitation, and emotional distress, predisposing people to physical illness. Believe me, they know exactly what they are doing. They are successfully lowering the vibrations of not only the young generation, but the rest of us as well. If one should desire to know whether a kingdom is well governed, if its morals are good or bad, the quality of its music will furnish the answer. Confucius. You just have to go out into the street and take a look around. What do you see? School kids, young adults on their way to work, and what do they all have in common? iPhones or MP3 players? Ingenious, isn't it? These destructive frequencies entertain the thoughts towards destruction, disharmony, and disunity. They also stimulate the controlling organ of the body and the brain into disharmonious resonance, which ultimately creates mind control. Some suspect that the Rockefeller Foundation had an interest in making sure that the United States adopted the 440 Hz standard as part of a war on consciousness, leading to musical cult control. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe. We have been left the method of counting and measurement, and the importance of dividing a unit by 12 seems to be the main rule given that has been adopted by humanity. Here are some of the ways that I found 12 to be an important number. 12 months of the year, 12 hours of a clock, 12 inches to the foot, 12 apostles of Christ, 12 constellations of the zodiac, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 Knights of the Round Table, and there's much more. What happens when you divide today's music standard of A 440 Hz by 12? 440 Hz divided by 12 equals
36.666666666667.
So what happens when you divide A 432 Hz, known as Verdi's A, an alternative tuning that is mathematically consistent with the universe, by 12? 432 Hz divided by 12 equals just 36. I heard it said perfectly that 440 Hz is pretending to be sacred geometry.
What I'm saying to you is you should give it to somebody that don't know any better, because that's a fugazi. Alright?
440 Hz is the closest one can come to the real thing, while still being an imposter.
Helen Hansel was able to win any competition she took part in. She was known as the contest queen because she had won 7 trips to Paris.
Being an imposter. 432 Hz divided by 12 equals 36. 3 plus 6 equals 9. 432 Hz equals 369. There are 2 ways of expressing the same thing. Next, let's look further into how the 432 Hz frequency is in time itself. Is our number system and method of timekeeping entirely based on 432 Hz, 9-base mathematics? How many seconds are in 12 hours? 43,200. That's 432. Divide or multiply a whole unit by 12. So 60 seconds times 12 equals 43,200 seconds. 36 times 12 equals 432. 36.666 times 12 equals 440. Interesting, isn't it? They are all related. They are perfect musical overtones of one another. Now check this out using vortex-based mathematics. 1 times 12 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 2 times 12 equals 24. 2 plus 4 equals 6. 2 times 12 equals 24. 3 times 12 equals 36. 3 plus 6 equals 9. 4 times 12 equals 48. 4 plus 8 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 5 times 12 equals 60. 6 plus 0 equals 6. 6 times 12 equals 72. 7 plus 2 equals 9. Now if you keep on going, you'll notice that our number system is all 3, 6, and 9, repeating forever. The numerical coincidences are too compelling. All over the world and for thousands of years, humanity has received certain number sequences. 108, 144, 360, 369, 432, 1080, but why? What is it about these numbers that jars something so deep within us that we incorporate them into our myths and spiritual beliefs? The answer could be in frequency harmonics. We measure sound frequencies and vibration cycles per second, and the numbers listed above, when played as frequencies, just happen to mirror the exact harmonic patterns found in nature. Music based on 432 Hz transmits beneficial healing energy because it is a pure tone of math fundamental to nature. Classical music such as Beethoven was created using 432 Hz, and research shows that this type of music helps plants grow faster and healthier. 432 Hz is a harmonic of light frequency. It speaks and resonates directly with our cells. All cells communicate with each other via infrared light. So imagine, when they receive music in 432 Hz, they are in joy. The conscious mind may not be aware of this, but most of what goes on in our bodies is subconscious. Sound in the air may be defined as the transfer of periodic movements between adjacent colliding atoms or molecules. Research says that music tuned from this frequency is easier to listen to, brighter, clearer, and contains more inherent dynamic range. As a result, music with this tuning does not need to be played at higher volumes, and this reduces the risk of hearing damage. Cosmic harmonious frequencies related to the 432 Hz frequency and its importance in the creation of physical reality from light and sound. Is it possible that over the course of thousands of years, we have somehow been guided in the process of creating this new form of communication? And if so, what type of information will we learn from it that could not be expressed in any other way? The underlying primary psychic reality is so inconceivably complex that it can be grasped only at the farthest reach of intuition, and then but very dimly. That is why it needs symbols. This is the biggest mystery. This universal truth was not available to the people of this planetary system. It is now finally being received on this planet by deep seekers of the truth and ready to receive it. Throughout history, numerous clues and hints regarding geometry and frequency have been staring at us, calling to us, and waiting for us to put them into place like pieces of a giant jigsaw puzzle. Here at the dawn of a new age, this sonic geometric puzzle is finally nearing completion, revealing the building blocks of a language based on energy, frequency, and form. Now, how do we tell the rest of the world that we need to reset the international concert pitch back to A432 Hz? Many people might say that this is nothing and barely noticeable, but why would they go through so much trouble to have this frequency change worldwide when some of the greatest classical music was created using 432 Hz? If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.